everybody. My name is Helen Barada, and I am just excited that you are all here for our Abundant Life 360. We are excited to have Emily Riley with us. We also have Mary Ward with us, and she has brought Emily to us. But first, I wanted to tell you, for any of you brand new to First Place and you want to check it out, we wanted to let you know that we have a coupon code that you can use if you want to buy our member kit, which we recommend everybody get started. It includes My Place for Fitness, written by Mary Ward, My Place for Nutrition, written by Charlotte Davis, My First Place, written by Vicki Heath, and My Place for Discovery, actually written by our friend Karen Porter. But for me, the My Place for Discovery was the difference maker when it came to First Place. Anyway, our kit is $69.99, and you can get a 10% discount, $7 off, if you use the code FP4HMK. FP4HMK. So we'll tell you about that again. But have anybody new? If you want to get started, we would love to have you there. Mary, take it away.
Okay. Well, I met Emily, we think about 2018. And she has just been such an inspiration in my life. I have followed her on Facebook, and I got to know her when she contacted me about being a body and soul fitness instructor. And I was the area director at the time. And so I got a chance to introduce Emily to Body and Soul and interview Emily and find out all about her. And one of the first places I went to was an adaptive fitness class that she was teaching. And I'm just so impressed with her love for the Lord, her love for movement, her love for overcoming. And she's an inspiration to me. So thank you, Emily, for being with us tonight. We cannot wait to hear what you have to say.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. Good evening. First of all, I want to thank First Place for Health for inviting me to come and present this evening. I'm always so amazed by the way that the Lord can use our hurt and our pain and our challenges to encourage and inspire and bring hope to others and ultimately bring glory to himself. And so that is what I hope for this evening. Like they said, my name is Emily Riley. I currently live outside of St. Louis, Missouri in Southwest Illinois, and I am a certified personal trainer. And so today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about living well with a chronic disease and staying active. So here's kind of how the evening is going to work. I'm going to share a little bit about my life, my background, my journey to diagnosis, what it's been like living with a chronic illness and staying active. But I'm also going to share some tips on how to shift your mindset when it comes to exercise, tips to overcoming barriers to get started. And then we're going to do a fun little practice of learning how to listen to our bodies through something I like to call a body scan. I believe that the Lord uses our trials for good and for his glory. And I hope that I get to be a source of encouragement, empowerment, and joy as you are on your own wellness journeys, whatever that might look like for you. And I'll share this again a little bit later, but I just want to kind of give you a couple of little nuggets that you'll hopefully take away. That first, give yourself grace, celebrate your little victories, and no matter what your limitation or challenge that you face, you can keep moving. So let's get started. So who am I? All right. My name is Emily, obviously. I can say that I'm more than just a person who lives with a chronic illness, though. I am a proud Air Force wife of 13 years. I'm a dog mom. I'm an adaptive fitness trainer. I am the middle sister of 3 girls. I'm a mountain lover. I'm a podcaster, and I'm also a mom of 2 babies in heaven. So I'm going to share a little bit of the backstory of my life. I grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona, up in the mountains, up in high elevation. And this is where the love of the outdoors and staying active was instilled in me at a really young age. Now, one thing you can't really tell because we're virtual or you're listening to this is that I'm over 6 feet tall. And I'd like to say that my height did not go to waste. I played a lot of sports growing up, but my favorite was soccer. Ultimately, my dream was to go play college soccer, and I was determined not to let anything stop me. And so my life plan was going on track. I was the starting goalkeeper for my high school team, and I was doing really great. But then my life took a bit of a detour. My sophomore year of high school, I was getting ready for soccer practice, and I noticed that my skin was kind of tingly, like when your arms fall asleep. It started in my stomach, then it moved to my hands and my feet and all over my body. Then I was also experiencing like a really weird electric zing when I bent my head forward. Obviously, these things weren't normal. So we went and got some blood work and an MRI done. And that's when they found a lesion on my neck, officially diagnosing me with transverse myelitis, which is the inflammation of the myelin in the spine, in the central nervous system. And because of this new lesion, they told me, you can't play soccer anymore. It's too dangerous. Like if you dove wrong, you could hurt yourself, because I was a goalkeeper at the time. And I really thought my life was over. But as a family, I grew up in a family who our faith was huge to us. And so we prayed for God's healing. And 3 months later, when I got another MRI, that lesion was miraculously gone. And so no lesion. They said, okay, I guess you're cleared to play soccer again. And so life continued. Now, fast forward a couple of years, I'm a senior in high school. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I am going around the country trying to find my dream school. And in October of 2005, I signed a 4-year soccer scholarship with Dallas Baptist University, and my dream of playing college soccer came true. Little did I know that a month later, my life would be flipped upside down. I was getting ready, or we were running a practice, and I was never the fastest, but I could always finish. And I noticed that my legs were really heavy. I was struggling to finish. My endurance was not really there. I was taking a lot of naps. There came a point when I couldn't even stand up at practice because my legs were just so weak. And so we figured maybe I had mono, but those blood tests came back normal. So because of my previous neurologic history, we decided to get another MRI. And at this point, I thought I was invincible. I was young, 17, best shape of my life. Didn't really think anything of it. But then the unthinkable happened. That MRI came back and they found multiple lesions on my spine, officially diagnosing me with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, a disease with no cure. And I was scared. I was angry. I was confused. I didn't understand why the Lord would allow this kind of a diagnosis to come my way. And I found myself kind of at a fork in the road. I could either let this diagnosis take me down a road of depression and discouragement and just give up all of my dreams and all of my goals, or I could take the path of faith and determination and refuse to let this disease stop me and keep pursuing after my dreams and my goals. And as an athlete growing up, quitting was never an option. And so I decided to take this disease head on and refuse to let it stop me, and really trust that the Lord was going to use this somehow, some way. Because I really needed to lean on my faith, because I was about to embark on a journey of so much uncertainty. But I really trusted that the Lord had a plan for me. And so the next step was to go find an MS specialist, which I did. And his encouragement to me was 2 things that I still remember to this day. He said, Emily, get on a disease modifying therapy to help manage your disease and preserve your mobility. And number 2, stay active. It's the best thing for you. So don't let MS stop you. Go play college soccer. So that's what I did. And, I had to send an email to this coach to let him know about this diagnosis. And it was really scary because I thought all of my hard work would just be taken away. But God always has a way of surprising us. And my coach wrote back and he said, Emily, we're so excited for you to come. I'm sorry about your diagnosis, but don't worry. We know how to modify your training schedule. You have a teammate who lives with MS, which was kind of unheard of because MS isn't often a disease that young people get. And so, I went in with so much confidence, knowing that, okay, my coaches know how to modify for me and I can still go and play. And because of their knowledge, they were able to modify my training schedule, give me fans if I got overheated, and really help me play to the best of my abilities. And I ended up becoming an All-American goalkeeper, which is the highest award that an athlete can receive in college. And it was just incredible. It was just God's way of just showing me that, like, I've got you. Like, you can do incredible things despite this diagnosis. And so, it just has been such an amazing journey. And to continue on with just the Lord's sweetness and his good gifts, even in the midst of trials and discouragement, is that my senior year in college, I went and volunteered at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society's camp for kids whose parents live with MS, because I kind of wanted to see, like, what's it like for a kid to live with a parent who lives with MS, just to kind of get a glimpse into my future. And little did I know I'd get more than a glimpse into my future, because in walked this guy. Now I want to preface this saying that I had two things I said I'd never do: marry somebody in the military and marry somebody shorter than me. Just never say never. So we met that weekend and we really hit it off, except for the fact that he went back to Arkansas and I went back to Texas. But the Lord just had such a sweet way of bringing our paths back together. I ended up in Little Rock for a presentation, and we got to see each other again, but I was actually in the middle of a relapse. I lost my vision in my right eye. And so this guy was seeing quite literally MS in all of its glory, and it didn't scare him. And a long story short, we were married within 8 months. And it has been such a sweet journey. We've been married now for 13 years, and I can say that we've kept our promise. When we said those vows in sickness and in health, we truly knew what that meant. Not just the MS part, but future challenges. And we've been through our fair share of challenges when it comes to health issues, but it's been such a gift to have him in my life. Now, being a military spouse comes with its own set of challenges, which includes a change of career every few years. And so that's kind of what propelled me into the fitness industry. I really recognized how helpful being active was for me physically, mentally, and emotionally, both before and after my diagnosis. And so I ended up partnering with the National MS Society to become a certified group fitness instructor to be able to provide adaptive fitness classes for the MS community. And I'm just so thankful that that's kind of the path that the Lord really sent me on, because it has been such a gift. Staying active has been and continues to be a huge part of my life. And I've now lived with MS for 19 years. I just had my anniversary this past month. And, I can say that MS has not stopped me. It has slowed me down. It has humbled me, but I choose to continue to keep moving. I move because staying active is so good for me physically, mentally, and emotionally. It makes me feel empowered. It helps me show MS who's boss. It gives me a sense of community too, in group fitness settings. It energizes me, and it's a healthy place for me to channel all of my emotions and even my competitive drive by staying active. It helps reduce my stress, and it also gets me outside, which is super important. But one of the things that I'm just so grateful for is that I have been an adaptive fitness trainer now for over 9 years, and it is such a blessing and such a gift to be able to provide accessible fitness for all levels of ability, not just for people living with MS, but those who maybe are recovering from an injury, or who are elderly, or who are just looking for something a little bit more accessible and adaptive and modified without the pressure of having it to be super hardcore. And it's just amazing to watch people, their self-confidence build and their strength increase. And just for them to be able to see exercise from a seated position is possible and it's fun. And so it is just such a gift to be able to let people know that no matter what your limitation, you can keep moving. I've worked at adaptive gyms for people with disabilities, and it's just been incredible to watch people of all levels of ability be able to move their bodies. And so it's just such a joy and such a gift to be able to provide that for people. And now I understand that everyone has not given this instilled love of physical activity or even have the desire or the motivation to move their bodies. And so I kind of want to talk a little bit about, shifting our mindset in what exercise is and why we should exercise. Because I don't know where each of you are in your journey, what season of life you are, or where you're at in your wellness journey. But I can say that our mind is a really powerful tool. It can either help us or it can hinder us. And so I want to kind of help shift our mindset on what exercise is, starting with the why. So I know we often think, okay, exercise. Why do we exercise? Well, of course, physically, but when it comes to the physical part of exercise, it even comes down to the cellular level. It's really amazing what exercise can do. It can help be preventative of, heart disease or comorbidities. And it also can help us with our quality of life. That's our mental health and our emotional health and our social health. And so physically, it is important for all of those reasons. Mentally, the wellness journey can feel really intimidating. It can feel really limiting or challenging, especially if we're dealing with an illness or we're recovering from an injury, and it just can feel really daunting. And I can say that exercise has this incredible way of helping our mental health, from boosting our mood because we're getting endorphins going, to getting us outside, which is super helpful for our mental health. It also gives us self-confidence, which is super important, and a sense of purpose. But I also want to encourage you that to seek after professional help as well is a great tool as well. It has been a huge thing for me on my journey of living with MS and experiencing a lot of like loss and grief in my life, that mental health professionals have been a game changer for me. And then lastly, I think exercise is super important socially. Getting involved in a community when it comes to exercise is huge. Isolation is the worst for us, and God has created us to be in community with people. And so, and that means finding people who are going to inspire you and empower you. And guess what's super cool about that? They're right here on this screen in this community. That's the most amazing part about exercise, is you get to interact with other people in a really sweet way to help inspire, encourage, and empower us. So I kind of want to help us kind of shift our mindset on like, what is exercise? Often we think exercise is pumping weights, lifting weights or going to an exercise class, something that's really specific with a goal in mind. And that's true. That is what exercise is, but it's also more than just that. Exercise is also lifestyle physical activity. That is your things you do every day: grocery shopping, household chores, sweeping, mopping, cleaning the bathtub, playing with your kids, gardening. And I think that part is so helpful, because if you're like, man, I didn't get to exercise today, but if you went grocery shopping, if you clean the house, you did exercise. And I think that's like a helpful thing to remind ourselves. Also, rehab is a really great way to exercise too. So when it comes to multiple sclerosis, often we can have a relapse or we start experiencing some weakness in a side. And so we have to go to rehab. And rehab is a great place to get in your exercise. You have to be consistent. They help you with functional moves. It helps you regain your strength. And so when we think of all these different components, to me, it just gives me such a sense of relief, because I think often the exercise demands feel a little daunting or overwhelming, especially if it's not a part of your life. But when you think about all the other ways that you're getting an exercise, whether that's like going to physical therapy, occupational therapy, grocery shopping, you're getting in exercise, which I think is so great. And so the question also is, well, how much should I be exercising? Well, research says we should get in about 150 minutes a week. Oh, that feels like a lot. Let's break it down. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. But one of the things that I think is also really encouraging is that you don't have to do 30 minutes consistently. For some of us, that might feel like a lot. And so if we kind of break it up into small little chunks, maybe we do 10 minutes in the morning, going for a nice walk, 10 minutes in the afternoon, doing a nice little stretching session, 10 minutes in the evening. There you go. You've gotten in your 30 minutes, or you went grocery shopping for 10 minutes. Like, that's a nice way to be able to accomplish that goal in an attainable way. So in theory, in our minds, that might sound great, but taking the next step and getting started can be the next hurdle. And that might be something that some of us are just kind of feeling a little challenged by. And so how do we overcome those barriers to getting started? Well, just like we're all on different journeys of our wellness, fitness journeys, it might look different for each of us too. Some of us may have already learned how to incorporate this into our lives, which is great. Whereas some of us, it might feel a little daunting. Either way, we're going to face barriers along our journey. And here are a few tips that you can kind of consider. First thing, find something that you enjoy. We want exercise to be consistent in our lives. So if you enjoy dancing, find a fun dance class. If you enjoy something a little bit more calm, look for yoga. And so whatever you can find that's enjoyable, give it a try, but also don't be afraid of trying something new. You never know if you're going to love it or not. And then finding a class that fits your ability level. Often if like for people like myself, if I have, weakness in my leg, if I go to a class, the worst thing is leaving feeling discouraged and leaving feeling like, I'm never coming back here. And so finding a class and an instructor who's going to make those modifications is really, really helpful in just making sure that you can leave successful and you can continue to go. Second is find a workout buddy. I know as a person who's just kind of been a part of teams my whole life, being active, staying active, but also being with people is super important. And so I always say find a workout buddy. It helps you stay accountable. It helps you with a little bit of motivation. Maybe a little competition is always good, although comparison is the thief of joy. So don't compare each other, but I think having somebody to go with you. So on those days you're not feeling like it, they'll pull you into class and vice versa. And give yourself grace. Life is unpredictable. It changes all the time. Schedules change all the time. And so we may set some goals that are important, smart goals that are attainable and measurable, but also giving ourselves grace on those days we're not feeling so great, maybe we just do gentle stretching or going for a gentle walk rather than doing a class. Give yourself grace as you kind of navigate what that new normal might look like, and celebrate every victory. I always say it's so easy for us to focus on all the things that we didn't accomplish, the things we didn't get done on our lists, or the things that we can't even do anymore, maybe because of a diagnosis or an injury. But when we shift our mindset and we think, okay, what did I do today? I did laundry and I cooked dinner. Celebrate that. Maybe you walked further than you ever have today. Celebrate that. Those are the things that we can really focus on rather than the things we didn't do. Celebrate those little victories of the things you did do. And lastly, like, life is a marathon, not a sprint. And so really learning how to pace ourselves, learning how to listen to our bodies, which is why we're going to do kind of a body scan. What I love about this body scan is this is a really great tool to use maybe in the morning or before a workout, as just to kind of inform you on, how am I feeling today? From my head to my toes, and let that inform you on how you go about your day, whether you're using maybe assisted walking devices, a walker, a cane, a wheelchair, a chair, giving yourself permission to do things seated if you need to, so that you can set yourself up for success. So you can get all the things done on your to-do list or not. And so this is just a really great tool to kind of help you with that. And so we're going to do kind of like a little body scan. And I'm going to put it up on the screen. I'm going to turn on some nice music, and we're going to do this together just as a nice little practice. Obviously, you can make this much longer if you want, or shorter. But again, you can do this in the beginning of the day, middle of the day, end of the day. I always do this in my classes just to kind of check in with how are we doing right now and how can we move forward. So I'm going to switch up my screen, and then we're going to do a little bit of a body scan. So if you are ready, we're going to turn on some music. All right. You can kind of see it up on the screen for those of you who are able to see. But again, we're going to kind of be going from our head to our toes of this body scan. So wherever you're at, I just want you to get into a comfortable position. You can close your eyes if you want. I just want you to take a big breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Kind of being present where we're at. And I always like to start at the top of the head. Check in with our mood. How are we feeling right now? It's the holiday season. We might feel a little overwhelmed. Maybe we're stressed. Maybe we're grieving. Maybe we're joyful. Whatever season in life you are, just kind of check in with your mood. Often exercise can help boost our mood, and so that's usually a nice measuring stick for exercise. Check in with your cognition, your mental health. How are we feeling today? Mentally clear? Are we feeling kind of foggy? Just kind of notice that. Check in with your fatigue at the end of the day, but maybe you woke up feeling really good, or that your tank was on empty. Exercise can actually help increase and improve our fatigue, and so that's just a really helpful thing. Just noticing that. As we move down to our shoulders and our torso, just check in with any pain, maybe tightness in our muscles, tension in our neck. As you exhale, just kind of let those shoulders fall. Let your body just melt into your chair. Usually exercise can help move those muscles, get them a little bit looser. Check in with your kind of like lower half. Like, are we having balance issues today? Are we feeling leg weakness, maybe numbness, tingling, whatever those sensations might be? Usually that will help us inform us to use a cane or a walker, or use our wheelchair, or do something seated, giving ourselves permission to move in a way that's good for our bodies. As we breathe in and out, last thing I always like to set an intention on maybe for the day, a goal for the day, or a goal for the workout. Like, why are you here today? Why are you here for this presentation? Are you hoping to maybe gain some hope, some inspiration, some empowerment? Just set that intention on why you're here. We're all motivated by something, and so I want you to think about that thing, maybe write it down a little bit later, of like, what's going to motivate you to try something new, to keep moving, to keep pushing forward, whatever that. So as you sit there and kind of breathe, just like listening to your body, I just want to read a little meditation for you, just as like a way to, I don't know, be centered and be reminded of just being grateful. So here we go. Today, I am here to remind us of all the things we have to be thankful for, even when our days are rough. First of all, take a big breath in and a big breath out. And I want to remind you that you woke up this morning. That's right. You have breath in your lungs, which means you have purpose. You have a life that holds adventure, surprises, and you think to yourself of how thankful you are that you simply woke up and had the opportunity to experience today. How beautiful are our minds? And guess what? You know more today than you did yesterday. This reminds you that we can be grateful for all life's lessons, great and small. Now, as we breathe, I want you to think about your strong body. You're reminded that your body has moved and breathed for you today. Your body is truly a miracle. Imagine your hands and your feet and how active they've been today, doing all that you've done. Take a big breath in and exhale and be proud of yourself for whatever you have accomplished today. We have so many things to be grateful for in life, big things and small things. Think about your family and your friends who care deeply for you. Some who might be in this room right now. These people love you just because of who you are. And that feels good, knowing that you are loved and cared for. Life is so much better when we take the time to be grateful for all we have and all of our experiences. So as you focus on your breathing, I want you to think of something that you're grateful for. And don't just think about what you're grateful for. I want you to think why. Is it your family? For their support, their love, their encouragement, laughter, or a shoulder to cry on? Is it the sunny weather outside, or the joy and peace that even the simplicity of a good cup of coffee is? Whatever it is, I want you to take a moment and reflect on that. As I reflect on all that I have to be grateful for, I can't help but feel joy and peace. This is a great thing to practice. Life in general can be hard, stressful, overwhelming, disappointing. And so something that we can do to help alter our attitude and perspective is by taking a few moments every day to reflect on what we are grateful for. We all have walked paths or are currently walking paths that are challenging, but know that you are stronger than whatever you are walking through. And that even in our trials, that God is present and God is good. So as we kind of begin to wake up our bodies again, take a big breath in, and I want you to reach your hands up to the ceiling. As you breathe in, exhale, bring your hands down to your side. And thanks for joining me for this little practice of a body scan. So that kind of concludes my little presentation of sharing my story. I hope that you all have been able to grab some sort of a nugget of encouragement or empowerment, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Emily, that was awesome. People want to know if they can can we get a picture or a JPEG of the body scan? Could you send
Absolutely.
that to me? That would be awesome.
Sure.
And we can include that in the email follow-up that we send on this webinar. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the first comment. I'll put a link for it in the first comment.
The place you can find Emily on YouTube. So you'll see behind her a KME. Emily, will you talk a little bit about that while I put your YouTube channel up?
Sure. Yeah. So I have a YouTube channel that is called Keep Moving with Emily, and it has tons of different options for people. I've got different playlists. I have Keep Moving Gently with Emily, which are just really great intros to movement, gentle movement, a little bit of, we work cognition, stretching, gentle movements. I have seated options, so you can do the full workout in a seated position, or there's high intensity options depending on your level of ability. And I'm always giving seated standing options. We're going to be working strength, cardio, core, and something called neuromotor exercises, which is kind of connecting your brain to your body using like a tennis ball. We do some agility, but they're all free and just to help keep you moving. And you get to be my workout buddy and you get to do it wherever and whenever. So that is what Keep Moving with Emily is.
I also want to note that Emily is one of our speakers at the Hope for Me event at Sandy Cove, January 24th to the 25th. So all of you guys who want to come see and meet Emily, I can't wait to meet her in person, can join us. The First Place for Health and the Body and Soul team will be hosting the Hope for Me event in Sandy Cove. And so we're really excited that Emily is coming. She is going to lead us in an adapted fitness workout. One of our workouts will be an adapted fitness. She's going to wind us down on that full second day. So come join us at Hope for Me. We're excited to have Emily there. All right, everybody. We are so excited to have you here, and this will be recorded. It's being recorded. It'll be up on YouTube. But without that, let's just ask. I'd like to pray for Emily, if that's okay. I feel compelled that I should pray for Emily. Father God, I thank you for Emily. I know she has a lot of moving parts happening in her life right now. And I hear her heart about wanting to be a mama, Lord. And so I pray for her physically, emotionally, for her heart, for her soul, for her mind, and for her spirit body, Lord, that you fill her overflow. And I just ask that you meet that desire of hers and her husband, Lord. We thank you so much. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.